Hey guys, what is going on? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. And recently I had a viewer ask me if I could do an update of my Yeti Rambler mug. They said, hey, it's been over a year. I'd like to know how it's holding up. Do you think they're worth purchasing? Do you think they're not worth purchasing? What do you think? So that was actually back in July of 2019 when I posted my original video when I talked about the features and my initial impressions of the mug. And we've since bought a bunch of them. I think we have 7 or 8 of them total now. The seafoam green one that I featured in that first video is actually up in my wife's office, and she did end up getting the pink mug that I talked about in the first video, which became a collector's item surprisingly. So the Yeti 14-ounce Rambler mug, what is my take on it? What do I think? Well, they're $29.95 a piece, and should you go out and buy one? Let's just say this right now. No. Okay, so why not? Well, for one thing, the lids have now changed. The new mugs that are coming out this spring are going to have the little mag slider lids on them, the ones that lock. I really think that's a feature that you're probably going to want, especially if you're thinking about taking this mug outside of the house. It's so easy for the coffee and so on to spill out of here if you tilt the cup back a little bit too far. So I would hold off and wait until those hit the shelves. I've noticed at my local Shields where we bought all these, they don't have any of the mugs in stock right now. Or if they do, they're limited to the bronze and the pewter, which now have the mag slider lids. Now, when you go to the Yeti website, they've got 4 or 5 colors that they're showing coming out this spring. So a lot of these older colors that you see in the videos, they're not available anymore. So you're gonna have to go online to try to find them. And watch out because there's a lot of fakes out there. Okay, so pros and cons of the 14-ounce Rambler mug. What do I think? Pros. Well, for being washed in the dishwasher every week, the finish is actually held up really well. This is my daily coffee mug. I make a coffee every morning and drink it before I go to work as I'm getting ready. It gets thrown in the dishwasher, gets run on regular hot water with all the other dishes. There's no paint coming off, it's not rusting, it's not flaking. Very durable finish. I don't know if it's like a powder coat finish, but it has held up really well. I mean, it hasn't taken a lot of abuse because it honestly hasn't left the house, and part of it is the lid. It's hard for me to want to take it anywhere. Now inside it has stained pretty good, and I just rinse it out with hot water and dump it in the sink and set it by the sink every morning. And then, like I said, you know, once a week it gets put in the dishwasher. So it's held up fine. It really hasn't changed at all. The green one here was the second one that we bought, or the third one that we bought. That one's seen a lot of wear. My wife uses this one quite a bit too. So they are going to get stained inside, but they're coffee mugs. You know, what do you expect? So again, pros, they're very rugged. They do hold up well. As for retaining heat, I'm going to be honest with you. If you really want your coffee to stay hotter longer in this particular mug, and this isn't necessarily the case with the tumblers, fill this one up with some hot water and let it sit for a couple minutes, dump it out, and then put your coffee in there. Especially if your mug sits out and it's kind of chilly when you touch it. You're going to lose a lot of heat when you put your hot coffee in here to heat loss to heat up the metal. So I've just noticed, I don't know if this necessarily keeps my coffee hotter longer than, say, a good thick ceramic mug or a plastic mug that I have in my collection. You know, we've got them, we bought them, we use them when guests come over and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's really any true advantage to it other than just, you know, if you're a fan of the Yeti brand, that's fine. You might want to go that route. Other con about it that I don't like, the lid. The problem I have with the lid, and it's not necessarily the leaking, but when you put it on here, there's something weird about it. You get this unusual like bead of steam that builds up around the lid. So when you take a sip, you get steam that comes out from the lid and the cup itself between the rubber seal. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know if the steam builds up on the inside and it kind of runs all over the place. So I can't take a sip off of this thing without having something like getting on my face, which is really not that big of a deal. It's not coffee, but it is a little bit annoying. The other thing too is the design of this one, and somebody pointed this out in a comment in my previous video. They said, well, these aren't exactly made for travel. They're not a travel mug. You know, they're not really designed that way. That's why you have that particular lid on the top. And I agree with that person. So these don't really fit well in a car cup holder. At least in our 2 vehicles, they don't fit very well, so we don't take them with us when we go on the road. We just kind of keep them around the house, and that's pretty much it. So in all honesty, you're either better off going with the 12-ounce mug, the smaller version of this, which has a thinner rim that should fit in a cup holder, or just going with the tumbler if that's the route that you want to go. They make different sizes and shapes and so on. This may or may not fit in your cup holder, especially if you don't have the cutouts for a handle. And so that's why this one hardly ever leaves the house, which is why it's in such good condition. So there's a lot of good pros and cons about buying it. One last con, I'm going to argue about this again still. I really wish that these were made in the USA. You know, for 30 bucks a pop, you would think that we could have these made in the United States of America, but they are made in China. Some of the Yeti coolers may be made in America, and for what they charge, honestly, they should be. And you know, that's just the Yeti brand. That's just what they do. So that's my only real gripe about it. You know, being that Yeti's based out of Texas and America and this and that, you would think that maybe they would make them in the USA, but they don't. So anyway, that's my take on the Yeti 14-ounce Rambler mug. Should you buy one? Yeah, but hold off and see if you can get it with the slider lid. You still might have the same steaming problem that I have, but you know, it's definitely going to work better, especially if you're going to use this for any kind of travel at all, because this just isn't the best spill-proof setup. Otherwise, it's been fine. You know, they've held up well. They machine wash just fine, top rack, obviously. And that's it. So that's my take on it. So guys, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. And again, I'll put a link to that original video at the end of this video, and you can check it out. Make sure you check out my little podcast that I do called Caliber Corner. We have that every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, so check the channel for the listings on that podcast. Got a lot of reviews out there for you too. Like and subscribe. As always, guys, I want you to have fun, be safe, and drink a lot of coffee, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.